When I think of Tennessee football wide receivers over the last decade, guys like Justin Hunter, Jawan Jennings, Marquez Callaway, and Josh Palmer come to mind. There is one guy that is likely forgotten though. He was a first-round pick, a 5-star junior college player coming out of high school, and more recently, he has saved his NFL career. He has gone under the radar the entire time he's been in the National Football League, and in today's video, we're going to tell his story, why his talent was wasted at Tennessee, and how he came back from this. But in today's video, we are joined by my friend Jackson from JEM Live. Be sure to check out his channel as he does a lot of great NFL content and he needs your help to reach 5K subscribers. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as nearly 80% of you guys are not subscribed for the upcoming season. And now, let's get started. So you're probably wondering who we are talking about, and the subject of today's video is Cordarelle Patterson. But in order to understand how he saved his career and why his talent was wasted at Tennessee, we need to go back in time. Patterson grew up in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is the same town that Stephon Gilmore and Jadeveon Clowney came from. Cordarelle always loved football and was always a big-time athlete, but his passion died when he got to high school. It actually wasn't until his junior year that a teammate convinced him to try out again. Patterson had this to say about it, quote, "I played football growing up, but when I got to high school, my love of the game was gone. I needed a break. My junior year, I was ready to get back out there, and now I'm here. It's crazy." He started to blow up in both football and track, as when he was a senior in 2008, he caught 75 passes for 944 yards and 18 touchdowns, and he led his team to a state championship and was named an all-state selection. Also, it is worth noting that his high school quarterback was a guy named Justin Worley, and that becomes relevant later. With no Division I offers out of Northwestern High School, Patterson followed a close friend to a place called North Carolina Tech Preparatory. Instead of going to college, he decided to go that prep school route obviously, but originally he didn't play football, and he quickly had a change of heart. He enrolled at Hutchinson Community College, which is one of the top junior colleges in all of football, and he became a household name there. It was definitely an adjustment for him though, and he had this to say, quote, "You're always away from your family, hours away from your family. You don't know nobody. You gotta meet people for the first time. You just gotta adjust to a whole new life, man. A lot of guys go to junior college and they drop out after a couple weeks. A lot of guys are not built for that kind of pressure." He was a freshman All-American punt returner and receiver and did even better as a sophomore. He was named the Offensive Player of the Year as he caught 61 passes for 924 yards and 15 touchdowns. He also ran the ball 32 times for 379 yards and 6 touchdowns and had 10 kickoff returns with 3 touchdowns. He holds more than a dozen records at Hutchinson Community College, including career receiving yards, career receptions, career receiving touchdowns, career total touchdowns, career points, career kickoff return average, and career all-purpose yards. Because of this, he was a huge deal in terms of recruiting and was actually a 5-star recruit. When it came time to that, one school really tried their best to land him. Patterson had this to say, quote, "The first phone call came from Tennessee last year on signing day. They never gave up, and with some other teams, I would talk to the coaches once a week, but Tennessee was different. They would call me almost every day, and they kept rolling with me. They kept sticking by my side." Patterson was pretty sure he would choose Tennessee, but he did take official visits to Georgia, LSU, and Ole Miss, and he did have some doubt. He had a great time on those visits and started to wonder what it would be like at those schools, but his heart gave in and he chose to commit to Tennessee. He said, quote, "When I was on my visit, it felt like home. Being at the game, that was a great atmosphere. People were saying my name and saying how much they needed me. The coaches were great, and my quarterback Justin Worley goes there as well." See, that did become important later, and as according to 24/7 Sports, Patterson was a 5-star recruit, the #1 wide receiver, and the #1 junior college player in the class of 2012. Going into the 2012 Tennessee football season, Tyler Bray was the quarterback and Derek Dooley was the head coach. Patterson would have an immediate impact, and he would become part of a big three that included Justin Hunter and Derrick Rogers. At least that's what we thought, but Rogers was kicked off the team. Patterson would show out in his first game, as against NC State, he'd catch 6 passes for 93 yards and a touchdown, with another touchdown in the rushing game. Following week, he came home and had a decent game against Georgia State, and then against Florida, he went off. He caught a season-high 8 passes for 75 yards and a touchdown, and sadly, Tennessee could not get it done as they lost. He would slow down in their next few games, as besides a touchdown against Mississippi State, as he really wasn't a factor in their losses to South Carolina, Alabama, or Georgia. He would finally bounce back and have a tremendous game against Troy. He caught 9 passes for 219 yards and a touchdown, and that was one of the best single-game performances of any Tennessee player ever. In a crazy game against Missouri, he would have a touchdown, but they ended up losing in overtime to the Tigers. The team had 4 wins at this point, and if they could just win their last 2 games, they would go to a bowl. In what was a shocking game, Vanderbilt won 41-18 and ended Tennessee's hopes of making a bowl game. In what would become the final game of Patterson's career, he would catch 4 passes for 88 yards and a touchdown as they would beat Kentucky 37-17. In his 1 year with Tennessee, Patterson would catch 46 passes for 778 yards and 5 touchdowns. He also ran the ball 25 times for 308 yards and 3 touchdowns and was a factor on special teams. Because of that, he was named a first-team All-SEC selection in 2012, and he was expected to be a first-round pick, as the Vikings took him with the 29th overall pick in the 2013 NFL Draft. I'm going to turn it over to my friend Jackson, as he's going to talk about Patterson's NFL career and how he has saved it all and become a buzzword in 2021.
Thank you, Scott. And yes, Cordarelle Patterson is all the buzz among NFL fans right now. That's right. The 30-year-old return specialist in his 9th year and on his 5th team is being talked about because of his incredible play and how he was the random sole reason that some fantasy teams won and the sole reason that some teams lost that were facing him. Well, it turns out not to be all that random. The Atlanta Falcons have given him more reps and using him in ways that no other team has used him before. Patterson was a first-round pick in 2013 and quickly became one of the most elite return specialists the NFL has ever seen. There's a really good argument of him being top 3 all time and definitely the best since Devin Hester. In his first 8 years as a returner, he made 4 Pro Bowls and 4 first-team All-Pro teams. He tied the record for the longest kick return for a touchdown and tied the record for most career kickoff returns for touchdowns and is second all-time in yards averaged per kick return. Why do I say all of this? Well, it's a testament to how unbelievably athletic he is. Some teams will do whatever they can to make sure he doesn't have a chance to return it. But this is where the question comes in. Obviously, he has the speed, the vision, and the elusiveness to be a huge playmaker on offense, and he has a solid 6'2", 220-pound frame, so why is he underperformed until this point? And it's subjective how we say underperform. In this case, I mean as a running back wide receiver, as athletic as he is, and as a first-round pick. So far, he hasn't had a season with over 470 yards receiving or any season with over 250 yards rushing. He also hasn't started more than 8 games in his career and has really never been a staple or got the touches I think he could have been getting. And we see teams like this simply using the players in the wrong way. And for the first time, I see the Falcons being creative, not putting him in a prototypical role and something much more fit to his attributes. And the thought process could be as simple as this. Well, on kick returns, he has all 11 people on defense chasing him and he does wonders. What if we swung the ball him out of the backfield or got him on a check down, get him in open space while cutting the field and defensive players in half? Well, he is a first round talent receiver, so we could split him out wide as well and have him run routes, and we've seen him do this. He's caught back shoulder fades, he's been explosive in the screen game, but when they put him back at running back, they have him running between the tackles, which he has done surprisingly very well. Or they'll pitch it to him and he can get out wide. He's been great at getting check down routes as well, where all the defense is spread out and he's able to be his best, making people miss in the open field. They've involved him so much in their offense. He's on pace to destroy his personal best. If he stays on this pace, he's going to receive over 1,000 yards and he'll have over 600 yards rushing. And what brings very similar feel to what Christian McCaffrey brings. McCaffrey is one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's also one of the best receiving backs. He's incredible in the open field and in between the tackles. And as if he was a returner, I'm sure he'd be an all-time great too. Now, before Scott absolutely hates me and gets flooded with comments, is Cordarelle Patterson as good as CMC? Not even close, but if the roles they play are very similar, Patterson can be a sneaky third option behind Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts, and also Patterson is on a 1-year, $3 million deal, while CMC is on a 4-year, $64 million deal. But I think they watched the success Carolina has using CMC, they studied all the film and found that they could get Patterson for really cheap and be that guy for them, just not as talented. Right now, he is overplaying his contract though, and I really don't see his productivity slowing down at all, and if it does, it's because they're going to have to commit more bodies to stopping him, which is going to be great for Matt Ryan, Pitts, Ridley, and this Atlanta Falcons offense in general. I love to see players thrive that have a ton of talent and finally get to an organization that will creatively use them and use their best skill set. And that's exactly why I believe he has had so much success this season. Scott, thank you so much for having me on the channel. It's always a great time. If you guys love college football, Scott is the channel I go to get all of my information. His videos are incredible and in abundance. So if you haven't already subscribed, I have no idea what you're doing at this point, but thank you again, Scott, so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Jackson, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as we talked about Cordarelle Patterson. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. How good is Cordarelle? Who is another player I can take a look at next? And what topic should I do next? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section. Subscribe to both Jackson and I's channels. and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.